Hello guys and welcome back to What If Season 2, and we're going to be talking about Episode 1, What If Nebula joined the Nova Corps.
What if?
Let me just talk about What If as a whole first of all, and then I'll sort of get into what I thought about the episodes. I've got to be honest, the lineup of episodes that they've given us for Season 2 does not interest me in the slightest. I actually don't think there's a single episode where I'm like, oh, I'm really excited to find out what happens there. However, when I looked at the breakdown of, okay, what is each episode going to be about? Because let's be honest, the titles are bloody dreadful. When I looked at what the breakdown was, this one was like, oh, it's a bit of a noir, like cop thriller. And I was like, okay, that sounds more fun than just what if Nebula joined the Nova Corps?
Yawn.
Episode 3, what if Happy Hogan saved Christmas? And again, I was like, what? Why is that an episode?
Are you yawning?
Well, it's a Die Hard themed episode, and again, actually, I think that sounds quite fun. So I don't know what they need to do to make the show sound more appealing, because currently it's not enticing me to keep watching as a viewer, especially when, like, I'm not seeing, like, next time to keep me coming back. Die Hard. The good thing is that it is coming out every single day, which is good. So I think that is definitely going to help sort of keep everyone invested, because it's like one episode a day for 9 days. The only problem is that I feel like we're going to have some clunkers along the way, and this one had the potential to be a clunker. It really, really did. It was not the best What If episode we've had. I still think the best What If episode that we've had is either the Strange Supreme one from the first season.
No, your marbles are long gone.
Or like the very last episode of the season, which was like the final climactic battle. What if the Watcher broke his oath?
I am the Watcher.
So the episode starts off with Yondu basically being dead. He's murdered. He's gone. Dead. And it seems as though Nebula is the first person to sort of find his body. And then the Nova Corps arrive, and then they take over the scene and basically go, oh, it's just another gang-related murder. But you can tell that Nebula thinks that there's something more going on there.
Something smells fishy.
And obviously there is, because otherwise there would be no episode. It would have rolled the credits there and would have been done. So we got to learn a little bit about what universe we're living in, because I think the best thing about
What If
is finding out, okay, what has changed in this universe in order to get to this point. And what had changed was, instead of Ronin sort of being Thanos' servant, I'm very hazy on the stuff that happened like early on in like phase 2. It was a long time ago. I don't really remember it that well.
So you know nothing. Great.
What I gathered is that in this universe, Ronin killed Thanos, took Gamora, and cast Nebula out. Nebula was then found by the Nova Corps, and then Ronin tried to invade the planet that they're on. Is it Xandar? I honestly can't remember. They all sound the same to me. Those, like, all the planet names, they're just... I don't remember them. I genuinely don't. It's bad, I know. So I think they're on Xandar, and Ronin comes to attack them, so they close the shields. Like a shield around the planet, which should last for 50 years, but it does kind of plunge the whole city planet into like darkness, and it becomes a bit of a sort of 1980s noir thriller almost, which is quite fun, I guess.
And this is the plot.
But here's where the plot takes a little bit of a left turn.
Oh, plot twist.
She was replaying images of Yondu, and his whistle activated the, like, his, I don't know what they're called, like his little missile thing that he can like, I can't whistle, but like he can whistle around and it will like kill people.
Whistle!
That managed to activate, so she managed to get that, and then the thing turned green, and then suddenly she could see like schematics for something, and then I was just sitting there like, huh? I feel like I've missed something big and I don't understand what's going on.
Can anyone understand what he's saying?
So Nebula headed on to Howard the Duck's place. He runs like a casino. Howard the Duck actually is a very, very cool character. We saw him briefly in season 1 a couple of times. There wasn't really much going on with him. But this episode he got a fully fledged personality. We got loads of lines from him, and I gotta say, he was my favourite part of the episode. The rock guy, I can't remember his name. Oh, I want to say it's like Groog, or no, because there's Groot. Grog, I can't remember his name. Grog! But the rock guy, you all know who I'm on about. I'll probably put a picture on the screen here. He was actually really cool. He was really funny, and I kind of forgot how funny he was because we haven't seen him in a while. I also haven't seen Love and Thunder, because I heard it was dreadful and I didn't want to waste my money. So I haven't actually seen that guy since Endgame, maybe, when he was playing on the PS4 with Thor. Again, my memory of those movies is shocking. I think I've seen all of them once, apart from the Guardians movies, which I've seen twice. So yeah, it was quite entertaining to see sort of their sort of information gathering section, and the rock guy was basically like, "Oh, that's a data core," and I was like, "What? What do you mean? You know that's a data core?" And I think all the characters were like, "Huh? What do you mean?" And then yeah, he just kept going and going and going, like, "Oh yeah, it's a data core. It's like the most important thing. It's got this, it's got that." And I think that's the best I've ever done a South African accent, actually. I'm quite impressed with myself.
The worst accent I have ever heard.
So they basically worked out that someone was trying to deactivate the shield around the planet so that Ronan could come and attack them. But this was where I got a little bit confused, because we went from that scene to Nebula breaking someone out of prison, and I don't remember how those two events were linked. Like, I wrote notes on pretty much the entire episode, but I went from someone's trying to deactivate the source codes to breaking Yon-Rogg out of jail. So I don't understand who this guy is, where he came from, or like what was going on essentially. So I think it was a bit of a rushed exercise. I could easily watch 45 minutes of this. Easily. But they're like 25 minutes. And so it just does feel rushed. And so when he stabbed her in the back, basically, and took the source code for the shield, I wasn't surprised.
Wow, I am shocked.
I was sat there sort of like, I was expecting that to happen, because you haven't given me any reason to trust this guy, because we haven't seen much from him. If we'd have seen him from the start and he'd have been quite trustworthy, and then he turned on us, then I think I would have been like, oh. But he didn't do that. He was pretty much evil from the start. The shocking part was she managed to escape through like the bottom of the flooded thing. She ended up on like the edge of a waterfall or whatever. The shocking part was that the Nova Prime, who's like the leader of Xandar, was actually behind the whole plot, and she was wanting to open the shields to let Ronan decimate the planet because it was better than living the way they were.
Wow, every villain has an origin story.
I don't understand the motivations, but also Nebula did bring out a very, very good point, that like she realized that she had potentially broken her oath because she had said something along the lines of like, by any means necessary, even though they're all kind of like, we gotta be right and not break the law, that kind of thing.
Respecting the law, respecting the law.
So after we found out that Nova Prime had betrayed Nebula, her guards kind of beat the shit out of her, like really badly. Like, I was watching it and I was like, okay. And then Nebula started fighting back and I was like, yes, you can do this, you can do this. And then she launched herself off a waterfall and they basically went, no one's going to survive that. And I just thought, you know what? it's just a wasted line because we know Nebula's going to survive that. They're not just going to end the episode there. There's obviously going to be some kind of a happy ending, or there's going to be some kind of a resolution. And I do find it tough when I'm watching standalone episodes like this that just do rush through it.
Why are you such a rush?
So they went back to Howard the Duck, formed like a Guardians of the Xandar planet thing, and it was weird. I don't know. I honestly don't know why Groot was in this. I feel like Groot was only in this because he's an easy character to put in because there's no voice lines. But like, there was no actual reason for him to be there. Same with like the Rock guy and even Howard the Duck at a point. Yeah.
Why are you here?
One of the best moments of the episode was when Nebula attaches Yondu's little head thingy to her head, and she ends up looking like Yondu, and I thought that was actually quite a cool shot. I was really impressed with that. It kind of caught me off guard, and I kind of gasped, and I was like, "Ooh, that was kind of magical. That was cool." So yeah, it was good. They had a fight, and basically the shield started to open, and everyone was like, "Oh!" And then it started to shut, and it crushed Ronin's ship.
That's convenient.
And everyone was like, "What? Oh my god!" Yeah, Nebula's a lot smarter than we give her credit for. A lot smarter than we give her credit for. She knew that Yon-Rogg was gonna stab her in the back. She knew that Nova Prime was unfaithful to the planet she was willing to protect. And so she programmed the source code to open and then shut on Ronin. Crazy. Honestly, crazy. Because she smashed it. Literally, she smashed the ship. So Xandar can now live in peace. The Nova Prime person is dead, and it seems like Nebula is thriving in Xandar.
That's a happy ending.
How do I feel about this episode? Think I'm going to give it a 78%. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 78%. The reason I'm giving it a 78% is, if you look at last season, I did reviews for every single one of those episodes, but in written form on my blog, and I will say that this episode was better than only 2 of those episodes, which kind of sucks. And I think it's because it takes a character who, like Nebula, I have no deep connection to. I love Karen Gillan. Karen Gillan is fantastic, and she does really well as Nebula. But the character of Nebula, I've never really cared for that much. I've cared for her when she's had her sort of like been broken down by Thanos thing, but like I didn't care for her in this because she didn't have that. Does that make sense? I don't know. Maybe I'm just chatting rubbish, but it also just did feel very, very rushed, and it felt like the conclusion to the episode was a lot easier than it should have been. Like, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of Ronin attacking than just he enters the atmosphere and gets crushed, and that's it. That's Ronin dead. Because it just, yeah, I don't know, it just doesn't quite, it feels very anticlimactic. I think that's the biggest thing. But thank you guys very, very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be honest, I can't remember what tomorrow's episode is, but I'm excited for it. I say I'm excited. I'll watch it, and I'll see whether I'm excited afterwards. But thank you guys very, very much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Keep on ranting. Bye now.
That's all, folks.